This is the story of an 11th place rookie team outrunning the most successful aerodynamic mind in Formula One history. During the late February 2026 Bahrain test, Cadillac outperformed Aston Martin on every metric. Formula One arrived at the Bahrain International Circuit in mid-February 2026, expecting a specific hierarchy to dominate the timesheets. The established teams unloaded their highly upgraded chassis designs for the new regulations, which meant the media attention naturally focused on the top garage slots. Cadillac secured their spot on the grid as the 11th entrant just months prior, bringing veterans Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas to pilot their untested machinery under team boss Graham Loudon. Paddock insiders universally wrote off the American outfit as guaranteed backmarkers, simply due to their late entry and lack of historical data. Down the pit lane, Aston Martin controlled the winter headlines after hiring Adrian Newey to design the Honda-powered AMR 26. Observers predicted this green car would immediately challenge for race victories because Newey built a strong reputation for producing championship-winning aerodynamics. Mechanics from rival garages constantly sneaked glances at the Aston Martin floor edges and side pods, hoping to copy his latest technical upgrades, but the timing screens told a different story. The anticipated performance gap between the veteran engineer and the rookie squad failed to materialize during the 6 days of desert running. Aston Martin mechanics pushed their broken car back into the garage repeatedly, while the dark Cadillac chassis pounded out continuous mileage without a single mechanical fault. That unexpected role reversal surprised the entire sport as team principals scrambled to analyze the telemetry data flowing from the Middle East. Cadillac altered the expectations for a debut team by logging 266 laps over the 3-day test session. Perez and Bottas drove the car out of the pit lane session after session, recording consistent lap times that put them squarely in the midfield fight. A debut team usually spends their first test stuck in the garage, battling sensor failures and cooling leaks. But the American squad managed to execute their entire run plan without major issues. Telemetry showed the car carrying impressive speed through the high-speed corners of Sector 2, which forced rival engineers to redirect their tracking cameras. Instead of focusing on the rookie team, Ferrari analysts were pulling GPS traces from the Mercedes car to study their power unit, while Mercedes closely analyzed the straight-line energy deployment of the Red Bull. Krolla directed his pit crew with the quiet confidence of a championship contender, executing practice pit stops while other teams struggled simply to fire up their engines. Setup changes worked immediately, and the car dropped its lap time steadily as the track gripped up under the floodlights. That mechanical reliability gave Perez the confidence to push the braking zones deeper on his final day of running, securing a lap time that left the established midfield runners looking nervously at their own data screens as the paddock struggled to comprehend the pace. The paddock is still trying to process how an American startup outperformed the most expensive design team in racing. We track these sudden engineering shifts across the motorsport world every week, so hit subscribe and the notification bell to catch our next technical breakdown. Returning to the severe problems unfolding inside the Aston Martin garage, the 2026 Formula One preseason testing reports reveal a troubling situation. Differences between the two garages became impossible to ignore by the second afternoon of testing. Newey watched closely from the pit wall as Fernando Alonso pulled the AMR 26 off the racing line, following a battery issue that caused a major spike in engine revs. The assembly and design cycle of the car were delayed, missing valuable shakedown time in Europe, which meant the team conducted extended garage-based simulations in Bahrain rather than a performance run. Lance Stroll complained about severe balance and grip issues over the team radio, eventually admitting to trackside journalists they sat nearly 4.5 seconds off the front-running pace. Cadillac personnel initially treated the Aston Martin garage as a primary reference point for their own development, sending dedicated spotters to photograph the complex bargeboard designs on the green car. Those engineers expected to learn from the aerodynamic shapes Newey sculpted during his intensive 10-month design cycle. Spotters quickly realized the celebrated designer built an overly complex platform that simply could not efficiently cool the Honda power unit under the intense desert sun. Aston Martin mechanics spent hours cutting additional cooling vents into the upper bodywork and side pods of the car to mitigate the terminal overheating issues. Loudon's mechanics stopped taking notes on the AMR 26 design entirely by the final morning, because their own supposedly basic aerodynamic package functioned significantly better in actual track conditions. Newey's master plan failed, and the simple, durable design of the rookies exposed the fragile complexity of the veteran engineering department. The difficulties at Aston Martin stem from their aggressive packaging decisions around the new power unit regulations. Newey historically favors very tight rear bodywork to maximize airflow over the diffuser, which meant the Aston Martin engineers had almost zero margin for error with their primary cooling radiators. This tight packaging proved too extreme for the physical realities of the 2026 thermal requirements. Cadillac utilized a customer Ferrari power unit, avoiding the poor reliability of unproven systems by choosing a conservative path. That standard choice allowed Perez and Bottas to complete full Grand Prix race simulations, while Alonso sat in a folding chair watching his mechanics battle thermal and power unit issues. Paddock insiders suggest the green car will require a fundamental redesign of the internal cooling channels before the first race, a process that takes weeks of wind tunnel validation to correct properly. The rookie outfit now possesses a clear data advantage entering the opening rounds of the championship. Track time dictates the entire development race in modern Formula One, so the 266 laps logged by the American engineers gave them an exact correlation map between their computer simulation tools and the actual asphalt surface. Aston Martin possesses limited, reliable tire degradation data for the new Pirelli compounds because their car never managed to complete a full race simulation, suffering battery and power unit issues after 25 consecutive laps. Formula One's engineering hierarchy flipped entirely when a basic calculation error regarding heat dissipation compromised the entire testing program. The outcome of this preseason test alters the financial and political reality of the 2026 season. Formula One management spent years arguing that an 11th team would dilute the prize pool without adding competitive value to the grid. Cadillac proved they can build a more reliable racing machine on their first attempt than a billionaire-backed operation employing the most decorated aerodynamic designer in the sport, which completely dismantles that prior argument. Aston Martin faces an agonizing decision heading into the Melbourne opening round in just a few weeks. They must either run the Honda engine in a severely detuned state to survive the full race distance, or risk internal failures by pushing the thermal limits of the current chassis. Running a detuned power unit guarantees they will qualify near the back of the grid, sitting directly behind the dark American cars they originally expected to lap easily. Under the financial regulations, the strict development budget cap restricts exactly how much money Aston Martin can spend fixing this design flaw, meaning the financial penalty for this cooling mistake will impact their track performance deep into the summer months. Cadillac simply needs to bolt on their standard race weekend updates and focus entirely on securing World Championship points on their debut appearance. The technical blueprint for success in the new regulation era clearly favors pragmatic engineering over radical aerodynamic concepts. Perez and Bottas hold the keys to a machine fully capable of challenging the championship aspirations of several established midfield competitors right from the very first starting light sequence. The most successful designer in racing just learned that reputation guarantees nothing against a stopwatch. Whether Cadillac continues to outrun Aston Martin in Melbourne or the green car finds an unexpected fix, we will be tracking every lap. If you enjoyed this technical breakdown, subscribe for more updates.